This is the guy from The Foremost. You know a band years ago, The Foremost?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone thought he was in.
Musician.
All as old as me.
All as old as you, yeah. So you alright, buddy?
Sounds a pound.
Cool and the gang. So welcome to the City Explorer. So when we look at these buildings to our left here, the I think I'll miss you. You're a bit of a guilty pleasure for me right now. Oh no, you're alright. Couldn't handle it. So you see these beautiful buildings here, and the Liver building, probably Liverpool's most iconic building. Was the first building, one of the first buildings in Europe to be made of reinforced concrete and steel. Absolutely beautiful. If you have a look at it, you'll see the Liver beds. Now, on Liverpool's shirt here, what's your name, buddy? What's your name?
Loris, L-A-R-S.
Loris, okay. Look at Loris's, I don't really like touching this, it might burn me hands, but there you go. When you see this in the Liverpool crest, yeah, you'll see a Liver bed, yeah. It's the symbol of Liverpool. If you look, oh God, don't turn back, don't get whiplash, we can't afford that. Couldn't afford the money on whiplash. But if you look on top, you'll see the Liver beds. Now, the Liver bed is 18 foot high. It's 4 foot taller than this bus from the very bottom. It's got a wingspan of 24 feet. Now, legend has it, Loris, you're going to like this story. Legend has it, if the Liver bird flies away, Liverpool will cease to exist. Liverpool will disappear if the Liver bird. And years and years ago, this is a true story, this. Years and years ago, yeah, Liverpool couldn't win the FA Cup until Shankly took over in 1965, yeah. So, Bill Shankly, they won the FA Cup in 1965. Guess what happened to the Liver birds? He said, if Liverpool win the FA Cup, the Liver birds will fly away. The only time the Liver birds have ever been pulled down for restoration was in May 1965. So the Liver birds did fly away. It's hilarious. Isn't it beautiful?
That's a great story.
It's absolutely beautiful on the top. And there's, well, what it is, basically the crest of Liverpool. Liverpool got its royal charter in 1207 by King John. Yeah. Now, the symbol of King John was a heraldic eagle. Now, this can only happen in Liverpool. Geordie, you like posing these questions to me, don't you? I bet you've been Googling, haven't you, before you've asked me the question. I bet you have. I bet you have. All right, I'll go with you. So this can only happen in Liverpool. After the English Civil War, he said to an art designer, they'd lost the crest in the English Civil War of the eagle. So they said to this guy, we need the crest to this artist. So he went down to the River Mersey, yeah? And when he went down to the River Mersey, he seen a bird that he thought was an eagle. It wasn't an eagle, it was a cormorant. So the Liver bird doesn't exist. It's a cross between an eagle and a cormorant. So it's a hybrid. Yeah, have I pacified you, Geordie? Okay, thanks. I was worried for a minute there. So when, as I mentioned before, when Hitler was going to invade England like he was intending on doing in 1940, that's where he was going to have his Reichstag. That's why the Luftwaffe didn't destroy any of these buildings around here, because they wanted them as civic buildings. And that's why Göring never touched Edinburgh Castle, because he wanted it as his own headquarters. So there was always a reason for that. So we just, as we're coming down here, as we're turning the bend, oh, you're going round the bend on this, but look to the left, yeah? You can see this church, and if the bells are ringing, it might be a wedding or something. This is Our Lady of St. Nicholas. There's been a place of worship here going right back from 1257, and that's Liverpool's parish church. But many, many years ago, the River Mersey came all the way up. The banks of the River Mersey were actually here, right? And this is the Tower Liverpool and George's Dock Gates. Now, St. Nicholas, Our Lady of St. Nicholas, is the sailors' church, because St. Nicholas is the patron saint of sailors, isn't he? Yeah. St. Nicholas was also the patron saint of children. St. Nicholas was also the patron saint of vagabonds and thieves. And Bill, that's where you get the saying, you're nicked. Because he was the patron saint of vagabonds and thieves. There you go. One of the most exclusive restaurants in Liverpool to the left there. Oh me, oh my. And that's what you normally say when you get the bill. Oh me, oh my. It's not cheap in there, I tell you. It's a nice little look to the right there. It's a nice look at the buildings. Looks like St. Paul's in London. I think that's my favourite in Liverpool. It's beautiful, isn't it? Isn't it absolutely beautiful? All designed by Sir Arnold Thorney. Geordies, I can take my earbuds out when you go. You know that, don't you? Okay. And you know what's funny? They blame each other. That makes me laugh more. So looking to the left here, this is the Streaky Bacon building, designed by Richard Norman Shaw in 1898. This guy was a clever architect. He got paid 3 times for one set of designs because it's the old police building, the old Scotland Yard in London, the police building in Calcutta, and this, the home of the White Star shipping line.
Oh yeah.
Now, at the very top of here, there's the Titanic. This is where the home of the Titanic. So when you see the film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, and he's slobbering all over there on the bow of the ship, right? And you'll have the Titanic Liverpool, but the Titanic never came to Liverpool. But at the very top of here, there's a cocktail bar, and that's called the Carpathia, because it was the Carpathia, a Cunard ship, that rescued the Titanic in the Atlantic, the 700 survivors. Geordies, do you know that was voted the best cocktail bar at the very top of that building? It was voted the best cocktail bar in the northwest of England 3 years on the run between 2017 and 2019. And it's the only cocktail bar in the world where no one complains when they run out of ice. For such a subject, ice up there. Alright folks, are we going? Geordies, are you leaving me?
Yeah.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. Oh my God. Come on, I'll escort you off the bus. Pretend I'm a store detective. You're no stranger to them. Come on. Jeez. The case is this. Come on. Right, the Geordies are going, Kev. Few less Asbos in Newcastle. Come on. Is your...
Yeah, thank you.
We're getting the family allowance down here.
That's what it's like in Adelphi Street at night time.
Oh really?
God, you're taking... Are you doing an encore? Come on. Jesus. God. What are you know you're looking for? You're looking for freebies? Oh. See you later. Down here now, folks. And we'll see Liverpool 1 to the right. Now, that was created in 2008 by a real sweetheart of a man, Gerald Cavendish. Anybody know who Gerald Cavendish was? Oh, lovely man. Duke of Westminster. He died 4 years ago, sadly. We loved him in Liverpool because he was a multi-millionaire, the Queen's cousin, with the biggest landowners, and he said, he's from Chester, he said, don't send me daughters out in Chester. It's too dangerous. Send them to Liverpool where it's safer. So he endeared himself. Look, to the right here, the only Beatles, the first Beatles themed hotel in the world in 2008. Statues of the Beatles. Don't look at George Harrison, he looks more like Billy Connolly. There's Paul with his rather fetching mullet, John. And down there, where this man's played a few times, I think, is the Cavern Club. Now, the Beatles played the Cavern Club 292 times between February 1961 and August 1963. If you walk up Matthew Street, is anyone going down Matthew Street? The girls, are you going to Cavern? Oh, you're coming to Liverpool, not going to Cavern. What was it like? So, you didn't really go in. You walked past it, isn't it? So, okay, I'm feeling a little bit of discrimination here against the Cavern, right? You should have gone in, you know, it's cracker. If you walk up, you'll see the wall of hits. All the Liverpool number ones, 57 number ones. Does anybody know what our first ever number one was in Liverpool? The charts began in 1953. Do you know it, my love? Do you know it? Do you know it? Who the first ever number one was? No? Okay. The first ever number one was a lady singer, Britain's first ever female number one. You'll all know the song, I guarantee you. Yeah? She sang the song once, refused to ever sing it again. Apparently it nearly made her a millionairess in the 50s. She refused to ever sing it. She only ever sang it once to record it. The ladies, any guesses? Kevin, can you get that defibrillator from the back of the bus? Because I'm not feeling much of a pulse up here. There's not much interaction. Right. The lady's name was Lita Rosa, and the song was How much is that doggy in the window? Woof, woof. How embarrassing is that? Our first ever #1. God, it got better with Lennon and McCartney, I guarantee it. So as we're coming along here now, we'll see the famous Mersey Tunnel. If you look to the left, this is the famous Mersey Tunnel. Remember the ventilation shaft I showed you before? The same artist, the same architect, Herbert J. Rouse. Beautiful. And he's got that 1930s Art Nouveau style. And again, the white Portland stone. That was, when it was built, the longest and widest underwater road tunnel in the world. 2.1 miles all the way to beautiful Birkenhead when you go through there. And you pay £1.80 for the privilege. Anyone been through the Mersey Tunnel? No? You been through it? Yeah. Goes up every year, doesn't it? And it does your head in. We call it the Great Wall of China. Honest to God, it costs you a fortune. So as we're going to the right here, we're going up William Brown Street, the only street in Britain completely devoted to culture, art galleries, civic libraries, and also museums. The World Museum is well worth a visit. Outside of London and Edinburgh, Liverpool have got the most visited museums and galleries. This is a beautiful street. Who likes Peaky Blinders? Hands up if you like it. You like it, don't you? I was talking to his driver, Cillian Murphy was filming it in March of last year for this series. There's a fight scene he was doing with Paul Anderson up here. To the left there, that is the Central Library. Now, it was closed between 2013 and 2015. £55 million was spent renovating that place. If you go in, there's one book, John James Audubon's Birds of America, worth £6 million. £6 million. Sweden, did you bring your library card? Go in and ask for John James Audubon's Birds of America. And we'll share the profits when we get back over to Sweden, like the Italian job, the Swedish job. Okay. To our left, St John's Gardens. We call it the Stone Yard in Liverpool because of the local monuments. But to the right, have a look what they spent all the money on. Can you see it? It looks like a cash point in the corner. Can you see it to the right? It's actually a book return. So what we do, I used to live in a city centre. I used to bring a book maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, take a book back, and it's 2 people stamping your books. They do 12-hour shifts. They do say they're on 0 hours contracts, stamping your books all day and night. They do say it's 2 of Ken Dodd's Diddy men. The same 2 Diddy men Ken Dodd called at his tax evasion trial in 1990. Do you know what they called him? Diddy Pay and Diddy L. Honestly. They're the old ones. Looking to the left here, a monument to the Hillsborough Victims, the 97 unfortunate souls who died at a football match in 1989 by Tom Murphy due to the relentless lies and deceit of South Yorkshire police. But that's a monument to all the people. That's where Liverpool and Everton are totally united. As we turn left, have a look at the Mersey Tunnel again. For every 10 kids born, 6 to 7 died. There's an area of Liverpool called Scotland. 73,000 people were living in 1 square mile. That was the census of 1851. The most in a square mile in 2011, the census was Mumbai with 71,000. So Dr. Duncan come along. We don't talk on this coach. And there's a ban on phones. People just look at me and laugh. Yeah, all right. So just looking to the left here, St George's Hall. The magnus opus of architecture in Liverpool. Isn't it beautiful? It's what Prince Charles calls the finest neoclassical building in the world. It got renovated. It was opened in 1854 by Queen Victoria. She's up there, Queen Victoria. It looks like she's vaping. Can you see her with that little vapor in her hand? She was way ahead of her time, Queen Victoria, with the vaping, wasn't she? So we've got to open the first building in the world to have air conditioning. And Dave, just that corner there, on the corner, there's a small concert room. My hero, Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens called it the finest concert room in the world. And the places he liked Charles Dickens was Liverpool, London, obviously, and Birmingham. Charles Dickens used to come to St George's Hall, just on the corner there, the small concert room, and give his penny readings. He would read the book. And I think the last time to Liverpool was 1866. He'd read the book Nicholas Nickleby or David Copperfield from front to cover. 3.5 hours and he played 33 different characters. Brilliant. Does anybody like Queen? Any musicians? Queen?
Yeah.
That building there to the right, Liverpool Empire, was the first place in the world, November 1976, where Bohemian Rhapsody was performed for the first time. Freddie Mercury and Queen, they actually got the name for Queen Georgian City. It's dead easy, right? Dave, enlighten us, brother. Come on.
Yeah, small windows.
Yes, small windows. Have a look at this frontage here. Now on the very top floor, the windows are smaller, aren't they? Because there was a window tax from 1696 to 1851. There was a window tax, so you'll know how to identify a Georgian building just by looking at the top floor. The windows are always smaller. What's your name, buddy? Terry and Jam. Like Terry and June, but Terry and Jam. What's going on here?
Oi.
What's going on? What's going on? Is this the boogie bus? Can we jump over? Is this where you all party? Hey, keep it going, girls! Way! Oh God! Do you know what? It's a very friendly city. It's a very friendly city. We don't want to see no frontages. We don't want to see that. Okay, we don't want to see. Got kids on board. We don't want to see that. Okay, folks, we just look to the right. And the railways started in Liverpool. Yeah, the Liverpool to Manchester Company was the first railway company in 1830. After the Rainhill trials and George Stephenson's rockets in 1829. Now, just to our right is Lime Street Station. Has anyone been through the train station at Lime Street? It's the oldest passenger terminal railway station in the entire world. Dates back to 1836 after the formation of the Liverpool to Manchester Railway Company. And as we come down here, probably Liverpool's most famous hotel, sadly no longer its grandest. This is the Adelphi Hotel. We've got any little ones on board? No little ones? No little kids? No? Okay. And we have a fake, got to be careful how we phrase this. The Adelphia Hotel to our left, 402 rooms. You can still get a pint there for £2. See down, honestly, you can get a pint for £2. Hey, Wales, you like meerkats now, aren't you? You've been half asleep straight up. Okay. Have a look at that gentleman up there. Can you see him? Can you see the gentleman up there? Okay. His official title is Liverpool Resurgent. But we don't call him Liverpool Resurgent. He's called Dickie Lewis for some unknown reason. Now all we know about Dickie Lewis, yeah, he's got a 114-inch chest, a 98-inch waist, a 123-inch leg. I'm sorry, Wales, that's where my measurements end. But what I will tell you is Kevin, our driver down there, he was the life model for Dickie Lewis. Kevin, you've got a fan club. Just looking to the left here, and the Adelphi Hotel, folks. Now, the Adelphi Hotel was owned by the White Star Shipping Line. It was opened in 1914. There's been 3 Adelphis on this site going right back to 1826. But just through the windows there, to the left, is just the Sefton Suite. Now, if you go in the Sefton Suite, it's an exact replica of the first-class smoking lounge on the Titanic, because they actually used the same wood that they used in Belfast, Harland and Wolff. They sent the interior designers over from there. Coming up now to our universities, and John Moores University. Just to our right is part of, I went to this to do my law here, John Moores University. This is the law and the media building to our right here, Liverpool, John Moores. Does anybody know who John Moores was? Anyone remember Littlewoods? He was that rich, he was the Littlewood shopping magnate, the Moores. They had that much money, they were incredibly wealthy. John Moores was the only man in history to have a university named after him in 1992 while he was still alive. Guess what happened in 1990? On Black 1847, 2,500 people became 5,000 people. Kevin, have you paid your licence? Your mates are after you again. So this area here was for the workhouse. It got demolished. We had a workhouse from 1770 to 1932. I don't know how you can have a workhouse in the 20th century. So they were going to build the largest Catholic cathedral in the world that never was. Have a look at the architecture there. That's what they started in 1934 when they laid the foundation stone. I'll give you an idea how big it was going to be, the Catholic cathedral in Liverpool. Second only to St. Peter's in Rome. It would have fitted into the entrance in St. Paul's twice. St. Paul's would have fitted in the entrance twice. That's how big it was going to be. If you go to the Museum of Liverpool, down by the pier edge, you'll see how it was going to be enormous. So, Liverpool was not a good place to be in May of 1941. The area got bombed very, very heavily, and at the end of the Second World War, we had 100,000 buildings destroyed and over 4,000 people dead. So the Catholic Archdiocese had more important things than building an enormous cathedral, and the costs had escalated. Hence, as we turn right, the home of Liverpool University here. We have 3 universities: Liverpool University, John Moores University, where I went, and also Hope University. How can students afford Starbucks? They must have a 70% discount card or something. Starbucks about a tenner. Have a look at the architecture, can you see it? Changes quite rapidly, doesn't it? So the guy who designed that, there was a competition in 1959. It was a guy called Frederick Gibbons. It was a Protestant. A Protestant designed the Catholic cathedral. Don't worry, the Anglican cathedral got designed by a Catholic. It's the largest expanse of stained glass in the world. It's beautiful, isn't it? 25,000 pieces of stained glass, based on a cathedral in Brazil. The capital of, you can't really get the capital of Brazil wrong, can you, in a geography question at school? The capital of Brazil is Brasilia. And as we've said, and as Dave knows, we mentioned it before, it's the only cathedral in the world that's got an underground car park. Very popular, Dave, with pray and display. And of a Sunday, Dave, you take your car in for the Sunday service. Very good for the MOTs. So just saying it right here. Have a look at the bells. You don't know this one, Dave. Can you see the bells, Dave? Nothing to do with Esmeralda. The campanile of bells are on the outside to protect the stained glass. On the inside, the vibrations would shatter the stained glass. So the bells are named after the evangelists, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John. What do you think we call 4 bells in Liverpool? What do you think we call 4 bells in Liverpool? Girls, 4 bells in Liverpool. John, Paul, George and Ringo. Imagine calling a bell Ringo. That'll never catch on, will it? The large bell on the end is from the workhouse. It's cracked and slightly out of tune, so it is known as Ringo. So just looking to the left here. Anybody like James Bond, Daniel Craig? It's where he made his acting debut. I like James Bond. He's a Liverpool fan. We don't hold that against him. That actually won an architecture prize, the Reba Architecture Prize in 20. That beat the Shard. How can that beat the Shard for architecture? Crazy. Yeah. Lovely street, Hope Street. If there's a cathedral, we've got one to spare. Behind us a cathedral, and in front of us a cathedral on Hope Street. If you go to one pub in Liverpool, just one pub, go to this pub. English Heritage called it the most, oh my goodness, English Heritage called it the most ornate pub in Great Britain. Absolutely beautiful. Grade 1 listed, with Grade 1 listed gentlemen's toilets. Gentlemen's toilets are valued at over £1 million in it. Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, the oldest professional working orchestra in Britain, dating back to 1840. You okay, buddy? Have you? And this guy has performed there, haven't you? Have you heard of Charlie Lansbury? Stand up. just look at that for Cafe Society. Isn't it beautiful? Anyone remember the Hovis advert, Peaky Blinders? Does anybody like Sherlock Holmes with Jude Law and Robert Downey Jr.? Yeah. All filmed along here. This is the Georgian part of Liverpool. Girls, what's happening with the windows? Top floor? Yeah, you're going to be the cleverest girl in the valleys when you go back. To our right here, the old art school where John Lennon attended as a 16-year-old teddy boy, where he met his first wife, Cynthia Powell, and his best friend, Stuart Sutcliffe. Has anyone heard a song called Norwegian Wood? Yeah? It was written number 3 Gambia Terrace, just on the left there, where John had a flat, because that was his old art school, just there. Liverpool's Anglican Cathedral to our left here, the 5th largest cathedral in the world, and the largest Anglican cathedral in the world. St. John the Divine in New York reckon it's theirs, but this is longer, taller and wider, so I think it might be this. Paul McCartney to our right had his famed school, LIPA, Liverpool's Institute of Performing Arts. What's good is everyone who graduates from Paul McCartney's famed school, Paul McCartney comes back every July and gives a degree to himself personally. It's quite a good one. Peaky Blinders fans, it's meant to be Primrose Hill, Ada's house here in London, Primrose Hill, number 86. Guess how much the woman charges there for filming Peaky Blinders for the day? Have a guess, Dave? Dave's a young, so he's a Peaky Blinder.
20 grand.
Yeah, it's not Birmingham, it's still Liverpool, Dave. 3 grand.
Right.
3 grand, okay.
Oh,
This street is Rodney Street. It's a perfect example of a Georgian street, and it was built in 1780. But no one in Liverpool calls it the 1780 street. We all call it the 8017 street. There's a reason for that. You can come the top end looking 80 and out the bottom end looking 17. You've just got to visit one of the many plastic surgeons and orthodontists along here. And believe me, there's enough of them. What is it about the lips now with the girls? They go mad for the lips, don't they? I believe they're doing chins now. You heard this, chins? Oh my God. When someone said you're going to chin you, you'd run a mile. Now you go in there and get a chin. Okay. My main job was going down to the docks and bailing out the American sailors. And the first thing an American sailor would do is buy me a few pints. He said I was drunk for 39 years. Why would I want to go back to America? Just to the left here, the bombed out church got hit by a German incendiary device on the 6th of May 1941. If you noticed, it's got no glass in the windows or tiles on the roof. Liverpool got so outside of London, Liverpool was the most bombed city. They still have festivals here, but they'll never put glass in the windows and tiles on the roof. A nice little story. A young girl got married there in February just before lockdown because her great-grandmother got married there. It was like a family tradition to try and get married there because it's still a church, it's still consecrated, been consecrated since 1832. But the vicar got a bit worried. It was the middle of February. It was freezing in there. So instead of throwing the girl a bouquet of flowers, he threw a donkey jacket and a bottle hat because it was absolutely freezing in there. We're now entering Chinatown. Liverpool's got the oldest Chinatown in Europe. And if you look to the right, we're going to see very long straight streets. There's a reason for that. Liverpool's a maritime city. This used to be the rope walks, and the ropes used to get made and stand at home in the sea. One of the best independent streets in Liverpool, one of the best for food and food festivals. Just look to the right, that's Bold Street. It's a lovely street that really is independent. As we're going into Chinatown, have a look at the food dogs. You'll see 2 Chinese food dogs, yeah? Protecting Chinatown. This is the oldest Chinatown. Are you getting off here, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll see you down. Just by the arch, Kev. Dave's getting off with Ellen. It's all right, they're married. They're allowed to get off with each other. Developed themselves, but all this area, and Bill, remember Jamaica Street. Applause for Kev, please, taking a good corner like that. Well done, Kev, good bit of driving. And I like the way you get Lebanon, by any chance? I think Jan wins the prize here, coming the furthest all the way from the Lebanon. Didn't the Human League do a song that? In the Lebanon. You did? The Human League done a song, yeah, in the Lebanon, yeah. They wrote it because Jan was coming apparently from the Lebanon. So we're going back towards our docks now, and this is why Liverpool got its wealth. Its wealth came from the docks. We have the largest interconnected dock system in the world. As we just go over the bridge now, you look to the right and you look to the left, and you'll see the docks, 60 docks. So that's why 40% of the world in 1896. I think we lost it in 19 many years ago. As we're going over the bridge, just have a little look right and left, and you'll get an idea. God, there's a lot of Liverpool fans out today. Just looking to the right. and then the left. Isn't it lovely? It's nice that when you see all the when you see the sun glisten on the Mersey. But it's only been since 2008, really, this area has been developed. Before that, it was just derelict, Bill, wasn't it? There was nothing here. It's only been since the European City of Culture. As I say, we had UNESCO World Heritage status. We were given it in 2004. I think very, very unfairly, they took it off us in last July. They took UNESCO World Heritage status off us. As we're turning right here, have a look at this building straight in front of us. It's a blue and sandy coloured building. Now, this was put here in 1992. This was where we paid our tax and our VAT. It was the home of the HM, Revenue, Customs and Excise to our left. Because it's where we paid our tax and our VAT, we nicknamed that building the Vatican. The other name we had for it was Dracula's Warehouse, because that's where the tax man bled the life out of us. Don't worry, it's luxury apartments now called the Keel. Straight in front of us is the River Mersey. Mersey is an Anglo-Saxon word. It means river border. It was the difference. This was basically the border between Mercia on this side and Northumbria on the other side. Good bit of driving that, Kev. I like the way you're missing the bollards. Nice. If you look to the left, you can see a ship. Can you see the ferry ship? That's called the Razzle, Dazzle ship. Can you see it? Now, a famous artist designed that, a guy called Sir Peter Blake. Sir Peter Blake also designed the Sgt. Pepper album cover. That design was from 1917. We call it the Razzle Dazzle ship because in the First World War, all our merchant ships were getting sunk by the German submarines and U-boats, yeah? So a naval volunteer named Norman Wilkinson realised, just a volunteer, realised if you paint a ship different colours, zigzag it with bright colours, when the German periscopes come up, they miss because the ship dazzled the periscope, so it's called the Razzle Dazzle ship. Apparently the Yanks, the Americans want that. We pay, I think it's £50,000 a year for the privilege of having that design. So there you go, Sir Peter Blake. To our right, this is the M&S Bank Arena. The M&S Bank Arena was opened in 2008 for the European City of Culture when Ringo Starr played his drums to open Liverpool's European City of Culture. Since then we've had many famous people, the MTV Awards, Jay-Z, Beyonce, my daughter Alexandra, she went to see the Pussycat Dolls and this unknown girl was singing, she was the support act, Lady Gaga. She still goes on about that, my Alexandra. The Albert Dock to our left, the largest collection of Grade 1 listed buildings in Britain, made completely of cast iron, brick and granite. My name's Gary Friday on a Saturday, folks. Thank you. Does anybody go on TripAdvisor? You said that without your lips moving, Wales. Oh, so, you don't have to go on TripAdvisor, but if you do, you can give me and Kevin a mention. It would be great. Can we have a round of applause for our Kevin, please, our driver, who's been a real sweetheart. Kevin downstairs does have a small appreciation box for getting us round safely. It's not compulsory, but all we say, a smile and a thank you is good enough, but them driving lessons in the week, they're not cheap. Okay, folks, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, God bless you.
Oh,
Stops here.
Without a drink of water.
Without a drink of water, yeah.
Yeah.
It stops here. Alright, folks. Oh. You can stay on to the next one if you want, it's up to you.
Thank you guys for watching
Penis TV vlog.